Hey guys, welcome to the road to the Kang Dynasty. In this series, I'm going back every single month and revisiting a previous MCU movie and making updated custom LEGO minifigures to make them as accurate to the movies as possible. Hey guys, we're back with another video in the Road to Kang Dynasty Showcase series. Now, you may be wondering why this video is Guardians and not Winter Soldier, because I am going in chronological order. But guys, I need to push Winter Soldier back a month, so in order to do that, I pushed Guardians of the Galaxy up a month. So, hey, both movies are great, and I think you'll really like the Winter Soldier Showcase when it comes out. I just have to push it back a month, and I think when the video comes out, you'll be able to see why, but that's all I can say on it for right now. Anyways, let's get into it and start showing you how to build all of the characters from Guardians of the Galaxy using 100% official LEGO parts and pieces. So I generally try to do these showcases in chronological order of appearance in the movie, and of course the movie starts off with the young Peter Quill. So the opening of this movie is still so sad all these years later, but to build this I used short blue legs with this torso from Harry Potter. The little cassette here is the awesome mix cassette that came in the Guardians Advent calendar, but it has come in some other Guardians sets over the years. The head is the confused face from Ron from Harry Potter, and I gave him the brown hair with the headphones from Emmett from the Lego movie. Here we have Peter Quill's mom, and as you can see on her gown from the hospital, it has a bunch of like dots on it and stuff. I wasn't quite sure what to use for that, so I went ahead and used this chef torso from the CMF series with these short-sleeved arms with white sleeves up top, which have come in a lot of places at this point. The legs come from, I actually don't even know where, but there is a little bit of printing there. They might even be from the chef, honestly. I just don't remember at this point, but the head comes from Claire Dearing from Jurassic World. That brings us to 2014 in the planet Morag, and the figure that I used here is the original trench coat Peter Quill. What I love about this is you can see that there's actually the orb in his bag on the back, and then of course we've got great printing on the torso that comes down onto the hips and legs for his trench coat, and if we lift it up you can see I used the more modern Chris Pratt head, and I used the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 Star-Lord helmet, which is relatively rare, especially as of this video being recorded, but I do think it's the better of the two Star-Lord helmets we've been given for Peter Quill, and definitely what I recommend using here. Up next, we have the Sakaarian soldiers and Korath. So I like the way Korath turned out. The Sakaarian soldier, of course, is just one of the regular minifigures from the movie. And if you weren't aware, you could lift this helmet, or I guess like hood piece off, and the head is actually double-sided so that you could army build these if you got all the Guardian sets back in the day, so you didn't have a bunch of the exact same soldier running around. At least you could switch it up. For Korath, I did have to build him custom. I used this head, which is just a generic head from LEGO Star Wars. The torso is flipped around, but that's from one of the Pirates of the Caribbean characters. Can't quite remember. I think it's like a zombie pirate or something like that. Don't quite remember off the top of my head. The dual molded arms, although the skin tone doesn't quite match, it's the closest we can get as of present time to have the black sleeves up top, which I think works pretty well for Korath. Anyways, those come from Barbara Gordon from the Lego Batman movie with black gloves and black legs to finish the look. Yondu is awesome in this movie, not quite as awesome as he'll be in Guardians Volume 2, but it's great to meet him for the first time in the MCU in this movie. To build him, I used the regular Yondu minifigure from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 from 2017, but I did give him a shorter red mohawk because his mohawk isn't quite as tall in this movie as it will be in Volume 2, and for his floating arrow, I gave him one of these neck brackets with two studs on the back, a 1x1 red clip, and the arrow to make it look like it's hovering over his shoulder. Kraglin is probably the easiest figure in this showcase to make. I just gave him spiky brown hair, the original Star-Lord head, which was also used on Bucky Barnes back in the day, and then the legs and torso from the most recent versions of Star-Lord. Ronan was such a great figure in the Guardians line back in 2014 that I really don't know that there's anything we can change. I mean, he got that really great uniquely molded headpiece. You can lift that up and see that the head was actually double-sided with an angry face on the other side. Of course, we got the paper-style cape, and then we just got that really great torso print and leg print, so I don't think that there's anything you can really upgrade on this because it just looks that great, even almost a decade later. Honestly, even the original Nebula figure looked pretty good back in the day, but we can make a few small upgrades. These purple legs with printing on them come from Catwoman from the Lego Batman movie line of sets. Then the torso is the original Nebula torso from 2014, but I did use the 2017 Volume 2 Nebula head because it has the most accurate look as far as the middle of the face being dark blue and the sides being light blue. The original Nebula head is inverse, where the middle is light blue and the sides are dark blue, and even though she kind of has that like angry gritted teeth face on this figure, I do think it's technically the most accurate we can get as far as the colors being in the right places. Now, it's been a number of years since I did my original Guardians showcase, and honestly, it's even been a number of years since I did the Endgame showcase, so it is really cool that since then we've gotten some pieces that can really make the Gamora figure here pop. Now for ease, I used the hair and head from the CMF Gamora because I always try to build these, if I can, to be things that anybody out there can build, and since those pieces are relatively common, hopefully you can use those there. The arms come from Green Goblin from Spidey and His Amazing Friends with matching green hands. The torso is flipped around and it's from Jane Foster Thor, the Mighty Thor from Love and Thunder, and I really like the look of that. I think that that looks really, really great. And then the legs come from Wenwu from Shang-Chi, and again, I just love the way that this came together, and honestly, it really does look like it could be an official Lego figure if I'm being completely honest. Now, updating Rocket Raccoon was interesting because the original figure, of course, had the gray color scheme, but as of 2023 with Guardians Volume 3, we now have the brown color scheme for Rocket's head as well as his tail, and this new Rocket head allows you to actually turn the head from side to side, whereas the original had like shoulder pads on that didn't allow for the head to turn. I do think that the brown does look better. I thought this for a long time, you know, I did like the gray for a while, but I do think the brown looks really good when you look at it side by side with movie stills. So I used the torso and legs from the original 2014 Rocket, and then brown arms and the head and tail from the 2023 Guardians Volume 3 Rocket. Another thing worth mentioning, we'll skip ahead just a little bit here, is for Rocket's red suit, I used the arms from Rolf from the Lego Muppet CMF because they're kind of like brown arms with fur printing on them. If you have Rolf, I might recommend using those arms, but if you don't, honestly, just regular brown arms do work pretty good too. Alright, for Groot, I went ahead and used the Infinity War version of Groot. You know, when we're going for just the regular Lego look, I do think that this is kind of our best option we've been given, and I do like that if you put him on 1x1 studs on his feet, it does make him taller than Rocket. I don't think, unfortunately, that he's taller than, say, like, Star-Lord. You know, it's definitely not to scale with what we see in the movie, but to keep him minifigure scale without, like, building some crazy giant Groot figure or something, I do think that this is our best option. So, the head and torso come from Infinity War Groot, the legs come from the, horse costume guy from the Lego CMF, and then there's 1x1 studs on his feet to make him taller. I mean, I guess realistically you could put more studs on his feet to make him taller, but I think when you put more than 1x1 studs, it starts to look a little ridiculous, so that's kind of where I draw the line. Alright, we've reached the Stan Lee cameo in the movie. I do make a Stan Lee figure for every single Road to Kang Dynasty showcase, and so Stan is just kind of wearing like a regular jacket here, so I gave him the old school Indiana Jones torso with black legs and the custom head from Firestar Toys. I know I said I don't use customs in these videos, but come on, that's perfect for Stan, and then of course the pushed back gray hair ties it all together. Alright, here we've got John C. Reilly's Ronan Day. I believe that's how his name's pronounced. But anyways, it's pretty cool that the head they gave us for the Nova Corps officer actually kind of looks like John C. Reilly. You just got to give him the receding hairline there to really tie the look together. And the head is double-sided, so you can flip that around and you can see that there's a chin strap there. And then, of course, if you just put the original Nova Corps helmet on there, then you get a regular Nova Corps guy. So I do like that you kind of get both looks for this figure, and it does look really, really awesome. Here we've got, I believe it's pronounced Irani Rail. I don't know how these things are pronounced, but this is Glenn Close's character, and it's kind of tough to get that, like, tall, piled-up blonde hair, but I used this hair from Bo Peep from Toy Story because it's pretty close. For the more mature female face, I went ahead and used the Princess Leia, or rather General Leia head from the Star Wars sequels, with the flipped-around torso of anybody from Guardians Volume 3, the arms from Captain Carter from the CMF with black gloves and blue legs. So before Drax gets his red pants, which we'll look at in just a bit, he has like dark pants on, and I can never tell if they're like navy blue, dark blue, black. So what I did here is I just used the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 version of Drax, because I do think it is pretty accurate for what we're going for. Now, when the Guardians are in prison, they have these yellow jumpsuits, and really just using regular, like, yellow torsos and legs are pretty good for this. There are these short-sleeved options from the Trickster from the LEGO DC line of sets, and then just for something a little goofy, I gave him this funny face from Owen from Jurassic World from the Bricktober set with the regular Star-Lord style hair, and of course, he did need a prosthetic leg for Rocket, so I used this one from Echo from the LEGO Marvel CMF Series 2. Once again, all of the characters just kind of wear different variations of yellow, so you could kind of use your imagination, right? Just use the Drax torso with yellow legs, or the Rocket torso, for Rocket suit, just yellow. You get the gist. I just didn't want to make everybody because they're so simple, but yeah, that would be my recommendation. So we do see the Other in this movie, who we had last previously seen in the 2012 Avengers film. So he does die in this scene, but he's still in the movie, so we should include him. The head and torso come from the Sakaran soldier from Guardians of the Galaxy. In fact, even the hood piece comes from there. I guess the only thing I changed was adding the dress piece from Magpie from the LEGO Batman movie. Now, I did build the Other before in my Avengers 2012 showcase, if I remember correctly, so I probably have an alternate design out there, but based off of this art from Guardians, I think that this is pretty accurate. Now, in addition to the Other, we also see Thanos in his first speaking role in the MCU, and I remember seeing this in theaters and just, like, clutching the armrests of my chair, like, oh my god, that's who the Avengers are gonna fight in a few years. So crazy to think how long ago that was. But anyways, what I used here is just the regular Thanos from the Avengers Assemble sets. I do think that this is pretty accurate for what we see here in the movie. And yeah, we have some minifig scale Thanoses. I mean, if you want to do that, you could just go ahead and use this Thanos we've gotten in the sets and stuff like that. But my recommendation is to use the big fig for Thanos. And yeah, this is what I used here. Now, as we head into the Collector's Vault, we meet the Collector and Cosmo, who we'll see most prominently again in the Guardians Holiday Special and Volume 3. I used a white paint pen and then just some various colors here on a regular Lego dog to build Cosmo. And then the Collector here is the Comic-Con exclusive Collector, because the goal of these showcases is to be as accurate as possible, and I'm very sorry that the Collector only came in one Comic-Con exclusive offering, and he's pretty expensive. But if you want to search through my channel, I have built the Collector in purist mode before, so you can definitely check out how I've built him in the past. But these Road to Kang Dynasty showcases are trying to be as accurate to the movie as possible, and you literally can't get more accurate than the actual figure LEGO offered us, so that's what we've got here. So for the final battle, the Guardians all get new outfits to wear, and unfortunately Groot doesn't have anything to upgrade just yet, so we're just going to go ahead and upgrade the other four Guardians. Well, there's no upgrade to make on Gamora, because I do think the 2014 version of this figure is perfect, and the same can be true for Drax, which also came in the same set from the original Guardians Milano. Now, Rocket Raccoon, of course, uses the brown color scheme. We already talked about that earlier in the video, but the legs and torso come from the Toys R Us exclusive polybag version of Rocket from 2014, because, of course, that gives him the red torso and legs, which is exactly what we need for this figure. Now, we do have to remove the arms from that, because even though those arms are printed and super nice, if you look at the movie, he actually does not have any sleeves on this outfit, interestingly enough, so got to do that. Then, of course, we have Star-Lord here, where I used the legs and torso from the original 2014 Star-Lord and paired that with the new Chris Pratt-style head for a more accurate look. And as the credits roll, we do meet Howard the Duck, as well as Baby Groot in his pot plant. This Baby Groot build actually came with this rocket from the polybag we were talking about, so just go ahead and use that Groot for this. And then for Howard the Duck, I used the head from any of three of Donald Duck's nephews, Huey, Dewey, or Louie from DuckTales. Then I used the clown torso from the LEGO Collectible Minifigure series with short red legs, white hands, the arms from Captain Hook, so you get a little bit of white fluff there on the wrists, and of course I gave him the duck tail from Huey, Dewey, or Louie. So with that, that's going to round out this showcase, and let's bring it to a close. Alright guys, let me know what you thought of this showcase in the comments down below. Stay tuned for the Winter Soldier in November, and then of course from December onward, we should be back on track and be on perfect timing from now through Kang Dynasty. Anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Be sure to hit like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.